Shalom, daughters of Zion on YouTube. This is Sister T, and welcome again to the Rock. Okay, I'm just here to make a quick, short video responding to some questions that I've had with women that I speak to, as well as other women who call and ask questions to me. A lot of people inquire about like marriage to me, and they always ask me questions. And I don't know if anyone remember, but before we had erased, older videos on our channel, I had did a video called "There's Healing in Submission," and a lot of people said they liked that video. And I've been asked questions again that about that video, about the things that I said in that video, and these questions are kind of similar to that video in a roundabout way. So the sisters, that I've been in contact with or that fellowship with me, have asked, Sister T, how did you feel when you start submitting? Did you feel empty? Did you feel like you lost yourself? Do you not know who you are? Because sisters are telling me that they feel like they don't know who they are. They feel like they don't know what their purpose is anymore. They feel like they lost themselves, when they, step back out of the leading role and started submitting. They feel like they're letting somebody else run their life, and they don't know now. They don't know their place, and what should they do? And I've really meditated on that question because a lot of us say we are Hebrews, and a lot of us say we are Israelites, but we feel empty when we submit. We feel empty when we obey. We feel like we don't know ourselves or we don't know who we are. And I really thought about, how as an Israelite do we feel empty? How do we feel empty, or how do we not know who we are when we get rid of something that we should have never possessed in the first place? If you really think about that, how did you stepping back out of the leading role make you feel empty? Because you were never supposed to be there in the first place. How do you feel like less of a person? How do you feel like you don't know who you are, but you're running around and you're saying, I'm an Israelite? If you know that you're an Israelite, there's no way submitting, obeying should make you feel empty or less in any way, because as an Israelite, that's what you are charged to do. In scripture, it's already outlined for us what we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to do. And I realized, even thinking back to myself, how I felt, I'm like, we feel this way because we truly don't know who we are. We have integrated into this society so long, and we have tried to be everything else that we were not for so long, that when we finally, start doing the things we're supposed to be doing, now we're confused, now we're empty, now we're lost. And in reality, no, you just found your purpose. When you start submitting, when you become a wife as an Israelite, you found your purpose. Your purpose is outlined in scripture. You are to be, a helpmeet. You are to submit. You are to obey. You are to raise up children. And this was a joyful thing. Sisters and daughters of Zion, women wanted to be married. They wanted to please their husbands. They wanted to. They prepared for this. Their parents, their mothers and fathers prepared these daughters of Zion for this very thing, so they can join up with their husband, and their husband join unto them, and they cleave together, and they become one, and they go fulfill whatever it is that the Most High had for that man to fulfill. And that woman was right there by his side, and she was able to, do her role, and she was happy about that. Now, us daughters of Zion these days feel empty. We feel less of a woman. We feel less. No, this is an exciting time. This is something beautiful, because you just found your identity. You know who you are. It's beyond saying, I know who I am, Sister T. I'm a Hebrew and I'm an Israelite. But really, are you? What does that mean? What does that look like? Do you walk that out daily? If you're married, do you daily walk that out? Do you line up with these scriptures? If you're not married, are you preparing? Are you doing everything it is so that way when you do become married, you can fulfill your purpose. You can fulfill what Yah has you know had you created you to be in the first place. I think about this kind of often too, because I can't believe so many people feel empty. I can't believe I felt so empty. And all this time, I've been trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be. What am I supposed to do? You're going to college. You're trying to find those things to be joyful about and excited about, where you can feel accomplished. And at the end of the day, especially when you start walking and living, life as an Israelite, sometimes these things don't even do anything for you. I'm at the point now where I understand, at least my role enough to where it's like I am sad and I am broken when I'm not fulfilling it. If I am failing as a wife, it hurts. It breaks me. That's where I hurt. If I'm in any way failing as a wife, if I'm doing something that's not pleasing to my husband, it's painful. It's actually very, very painful, because I know I'm failing. I don't need anybody to really point out to me, well, this is your failure because you are not, in college doing this. No, no, no. I don't feel failure now. I feel failure when my husband is unhappy. I feel failure if I'm not pleasing him. I feel failure if I'm falling short, because I know that then the Most High is not pleased with me if I'm unruly. I feel pain in that. I feel pain just to know how unruly I was in past time. I feel pain, I feel hurt, and things like that. I am most happy, I am most complete, I am most joyful when my husband's happy, when he has a smile on his face. I am most joyful when I know that I am fulfilling those things that he, wants me to fulfill as his wife. I am joyful to know that we are moving, closer together, when we are coming closer together to Yah and with one another and as a family. And when he's able to fulfill those things that Yah called him to fulfill, that's when I'm most happy. That's when I'm most joyful. And, in reality, just, in general, I'm complete the most when I know that as a wife, I am doing what scripture says. And that's why I no longer have a problem with so many things that many women have a problem with. A lot of women will say, I'm a Hebrew and I'm an Israelite, but they have the problem with the very book. They have a problem with the very things we were called to do. You have a problem with your role. You have a problem with your fellow sisters. That's why, even, I get the question a lot, even with, polygyny. They don't understand, like, how could you want that, and how could you want somebody else with your husband and stuff. And I was like, you're making it too much about me. You're making it too much about wanting somebody else with what's mine, when in reality my husband don't belong to me, I belong to him. And in reality, I care for my sister, and in reality, if the Most High himself don't have a problem with it, if the Most High himself in cases command this, then why would I have a problem with it? That's part of being who I am. That's part of me being an Israelite, is loving what the Most High created, loving what the Most High has done, and lining up with it. If I'm a wife, I want to be a wife. If my calling is to be a sister wife, then I want to be a sister wife. I want to be whatever it is that Yah calls me to do. I want to fulfill, you know, my role. I want to fulfill those things that I'm supposed to be as a wife. It helped me. And I think the more and more we start obeying the book and remove our feelings and our emotions out of these equations, I think that we wouldn't feel so empty. I think you will feel more fulfilled as you start doing it. When you're not doing things, it's hard to feel fulfilled, really. And if you're gonna sit there and make excuses of why you can't do it, then you will never truly understand the beauty, the joy that submission actually brings. Even just the peace it brings to your household. That's just a beautiful thing by itself. When you are in your proper place, in your proper role, and you're doing the things you're supposed to do, a whole nother level of peace, comes along with it. And that is a treasure in and of itself, especially, being raised, the way at least I've been raised. That's a whole nother thing. I've been raised around a lot of chaos, so it's a beauty to have peace. It's a treasure. It's a joy. It's different to walk around and to see, your husband smile, for the family to be together, to have unity, opposed to seeing, um, parents arguing, fighting, and getting used to that. So I just wanted to encourage daughters of Zion to really think about that. You don't lose yourself. You don't lose who you are by being in your role, by submitting, by stepping back and saying, I'm not leading this house. My husband leads this house, and I'm going to submit, and I'm going to be by his side, and do the things I'm supposed to do as a wife. No, you didn't lose yourself. And in reality, you just found out who you were. You just found your true identity. You just now found your purpose. And that is something to be joyful over. That is a beautiful thing, to know who you are, to know your purpose, to know your duties, to know you can fulfill it, and you can smile because you have just accomplished something, and you accomplished something that matters because it matters to Yah. It matters to your husband. It matters to the people that are most important to you. And that's what matters. That's what matters. It doesn't matter what's most important to everybody else. It matters what's important to Yah. It matters what's important to your husband, your head. That's what matters. If it benefits your family, that's what matters. So I just wanted to encourage daughters of Zion. Submission is not this. You don't lose yourself. You just gain. Bless y'all. Shalom.